Here we are back again, episode number 10 of the Rust Bucket Plymouth. Carrying on from the last video there where I was working on the back deck section here. I'll just show you where we're at, where we're going, what we're doing. I bet you think we're fixing rust. You would be right. Okay guys, so I showed in the last one there, this was all cracked and rusty and they just let it over top. So I cut a piece and put it in. It turned out pretty good. It's there's probably 1/4 of an inch of lead up here, so the body shop's going to have fun getting this all leveled back out. But I'm thinking maybe Bad Chad would be good at finishing this one off. So I'm over on the other side now, and this side looked really good. All it had was this crack. But then when I got into it with the torch, you can see there was probably 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch of lead right here, and some really ugly welds, rusty, and just leaded right over top. So it's no wonder it cracked again. So I started making a piece. What I did, I just broke a piece of 18 gauge, shrunk it on the shrinker stretcher, and I got almost the right shape here. What I have to do now is cut this piece out. I'm going to cut it a little small, and then I can go in and do a cut and butt, weld this piece in, and carry on with that. The other thing I've got done is I built these braces. I've got them screwed in. They're holding the back deck nice and level now. I had to put this curve in them to get them to, because of the sweep action when you open the rumble seat on it. So pretty sure I've got them where I want them. I can plug weld them in place. I've got one little piece there I have to straighten out and weld in right there. And then I can start planishing this whole back end here. And I'm thinking it's going to be good up to about here, and that's about how high I'm going to bring the new roll pan that I'm going to build. So hopefully it's going to work out. I've got the patch all tack welded in on this side. This thing is really poor quality right from the factory. I went down 1 inch on this side and 3/4 on that side. That one overlaps this trough by the full 1 inch. On this side it barely goes down 1/2 inch. I should have actually done a measurement and made this a little bit longer on this one, but so I'm just going to carry on here. I'll get this all welded in, ground down, and then this back edge is going to get folded in, and it adds a bunch of strength to this lip right here. So okay, we're going to attempt this rear roll pan. I've got everything I think I'm going to need. I've got the pattern piece. I took my profile gauge from the quarter panel and I put some extra bend in it and made it match the pattern that I have perfectly, so I can use that to make sure that I get the proper amount of curve in this. And then I have these cheap profile gauges from Amazon. I think the 2 set was like 15 bucks or something, and I'm going to use those for my profile up and down. And I've got a blank cut, and first thing I'm going to do is break this lower 90-degree on it, and then this is going to be my real first attempt at a compound curved panel like this. I have done a couple, but mostly they're just small for differential humps and stuff like that. So we'll see how much tin we can screw up. Like I say, I'm going to put my 90 in the bottom of this. I'm going to crisp the 90 up, and then I'm going to go to the shrinker, and I'm going to shrink that all the way across to get my lower curve. And then we're going to take it to the English wheel and see if we can develop this crown in it. The one thing that I am doing, because this is from a coupe, just a conventional, like a businessman's coupe, the trunk lid comes right down to here on it. On the rumble seat coupe, it's almost 2 feet up where the rumble seat comes down to. So I'm adding 2 inches to the height of this so that I can get up above all of that really bad damage on the bottom of Fat Bottom Girl here. And then I'm going to, if I can get this piece to come out properly the way I want it to, I'll be able to trim the bottom of this. And to make this a little bit easier, I know it's not exactly the right way, but I'm going to step down the top edge 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do an overlap with plug welds, and then I'm going to weld it solid after the fact. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot easier than trying to do a butt weld with all of this twisted steel on the back here. So we'll get started on this. I'm going to try and film as much as I can of it, just to show you how easy it is to screw steel up. Let's get started on this. We'll see if we can get the proper curve in it. I find it a little tough to get a consistent curve. It's best to work from the center and go one width out on each side. That way you get the same amount of shrink in both sides. And then there's how hard do you push. I'm just going to keep working at this till it matches my template I made, and we can go from there. As you can see, it develops pretty quick, so I'll just keep working this out. Okay guys, I got this developed. A little bit over, but I can always work it out if I have to. Next thing I did was I matched the radius of my English wheel die to the curve that's in the roll pan. And now I'm going to start working that out on the English wheel here. I'll get it all set up and then I'll bring you over. Okay, I'm all set up in the bead roller here. And we'll see if we can get this worked in. See how many times I can eat my fingers. I'm going to go with fairly light pressure. And I'm going to have to move my Oops. Gotta watch that. Running into the... Oh, that's not good. Already starting to destroy this panel. Okay guys, I'm going to carry on with this, see what I can do. I think I'm going to have to trim this nut down because it's running into the side of my panel and put some dents in it. Okay, so we run this through the English wheel a whole bunch. We got lots of curve in it, but what we've ended up with is this really bad deformation here. And the reason is because it's curved this way and this way, there's too much material up top here. My current shrinker stretcher only shrinks an inch, and this needs to be shrunk down probably 4 or 5 inches to be able to get the proper shape. Now I do have, I just ordered a deep throat shrinker stretcher from Princess Auto. Should be here in about a week, but I don't want to wait, so I've been putting it off for a long time, but I built myself a shrinking stump. What I've got is just a cut off from a big old spruce tree. Using a skill saw and a flap disc on my grinder, I hollowed out a really nice smooth dish that's kind of teardrop shaped. And what I can do is use that to introduce a bunch of tucks in this piece of steel. And then I'll flatten those tucks out, and what they'll do is draw the material all together and shrink it, and then I can put it back through the English wheel to smooth it all out. Now it's going to get really ugly before it gets so it looks like anything. So that'll be the next thing we do, is start beating the crap out of this piece of steel. Okay everyone, so I got a bunch of beading done on this. I had put in a bunch of tucks along the top, flattened them all out, gathered up all the material, ran it through the English wheel again, and it's coming together, but I couldn't figure out for the life of me why this tin would not hold its shape and why it seemed to dent and bend so easy. I show you right here. I can fold that right over. Well, I got the caliper out, and the steel shop gave the owner of the Plymouth the wrong steel. Gave him 20 gauge instead of 18 when he picked it up the other day. So all of this work was for naught. He's coming by this morning to pick these 2 sheets up and take them back and get the right stuff. So what a crock. Anyhow, we'll have to carry on once we get the proper steel. Okay everyone, we're back again. A few days later, I do have 3 sheets of 18 gauge, and I know it's 18 gauge this time. The only bad thing is they're pretty rusty. I'm going to have to do quite a bit of cleanup before I can use them. And the other thing is my my deep throat shrinker stretcher came in. So they don't make a foot stand or a stand with a foot pedal for this particular model. So I started digging through the junk pile and came up with a whole bunch of pieces and mess of scrap all welded together. The only thing I have into it for cost is a $22 spring. Everything else was just stuff I had laying around. I've got some little clevises. I think they're hairpin clevises from Speedway Auto that I had from a project years ago. Got 2 of those. A couple pieces of 1-inch tubing welded together because I had no 1x2. Piece of drill stem, an old wheel, which I wouldn't do again because the wheel, it gets in the way. These things need a fairly long stroke, so I had to cut clearance in the wheel itself for the pedal to go down. I didn't want to cut the handle off here. I went through my short tubing bin, and I had a piece of 1/4-inch wall tubing that fit perfectly on here. So I drilled drilled and tapped it 1/4-20 for a set screw, and I ground a flat spot in the proper location on the shaft here. Had to put some cool bends in the piece of 3/4 inch square tubing I used to go down, and but it works good. We'll see how it shrinks the steel. So next thing I'm going to get working on here now is I got to cut a blank, and we'll make that piece again, hopefully for the last time. Okay everyone, we're going to try this a little different. I laid out a bunch of 1-inch part lines on the inside of this. I'm going to try pre-shrinking it. The way the instructions say for this, I guess it's got an 8-inch throat, so I guess it would be a deep throat shrinker that we're going to name Linda. Haha. And we're going to see if we can get some shrink in this and start it to curl in, and then we'll take it over to the English wheel. It says to start at the outside and work your way in, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, but this is a workout. Well, I'm just going to keep pumping away at this and see if we can get some shrink into it. Okay everyone, we're back again. Another Sunday here. I've been working on this pretty hard. I'll tell you, that is a hell of a workout for somebody that's closer to 70 than 65. For every pass I make, this thing's 38 inches long, 11.5 inches deep. So there's 10 stomps per row times 38. There's 388 stomps, or 380 stomps per pass on this thing. And I'll tell you, that's a hell of a workout. The one thing I am finding is it's a whole lot more controllable using the shrinker than it is the stump. The stump makes a hell of a mess of it before it looks better. But so we're just going to keep shrinking and running it through the English wheel till we get the shape we need. We got a fair ways to go yet. Okay guys, really like how this is coming together. The shrinker is working really well. I've got a ton of shape in this. I've still got some more shrinking to do in the center. I would say I'm probably up to probably 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 stomps on this pedal. So I definitely don't have to go for any walks or anything. But I'm going to keep going till I get this to fit my 2 templates perfectly. And it's only a matter of time and a whole bunch of exercise, which ain't going to help or ain't going to hurt this old fat guy. Okay everyone, back again. So I've got this rear panel all shaped, formed. I put a step down in it here so that I could overlap the two. I figured that was the best way to go here with the amount of damage that's in this back panel. Trimmed it off, got it clecoed in, and ready to start making the end pieces here. I figure roughly between 7 and 8 hours to make that panel. I'm not sure how many stomps it took on the on Linda here, but I'm thinking probably close to 8,000 or 9,000. Whole lot of shrinking. It actually, the amount of shrinking that went in pulled the top edges together almost half an inch. So that's a considerable amount of shrink. So next thing I'm going to do, I think, is clean up where the fenders go on and kind of see if I can get them to bolt up fairly close to where they have to go so that I can start forming these two back pieces off of the samples I have. Okay, everybody, just going to wrap up this video here. It's getting, I don't know if it's getting real long, but the next step is going to be a pretty long one. So what I've done is I showed I had this on there, clecoed on. I took it back off. I did a whole bunch of planishing on this. I welded up all of those extra holes that weren't supposed to be there, planished them out, and then I trimmed the ends off on both sides so that I can start working on those. But what I've found is there's so much movement. I don't know if you can see this. If I push on the fender, it pushes out on the back of the tub here. So what I've started, like I said, I'm going to clean these fenders up. The left one is the only one that fits decently, and it was all cracked and cut at the back, full of lead and brass. So I'm going to fix this all up. This one's pretty straight, and I'm probably going to make a pattern for the inner fender well, and then I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to repair up in here, because there's nothing here right now. I can stick my hand right in and build a flange that I can bolt the fender to so that I can do these bottom corners. And then I'm going to make the inner fender to fit that flange that I put in there. I think that's the only way that I can go about it. So anyhow, that's where we're at. Want to thank you guys for tuning in, following all this bullshit, and we'll be coming back with the next one fairly soon. I got a busy weekend coming up here. I got some friends coming. Got to put a new furnace in the shop here. A little afraid of a little carbon monoxide poisoning. So yeah, anyhow, take care. Catch you on the next one.